quick reaction alerts. Scramble, 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 acknowledge.
You're right.
Alright y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, so today we're doing a highly requested video, but before we get into that, I'm going to point your attention to my new background. So it is December, so you can see I have our little elf on a shelf over here doing like some it's supposed to make him look like he's rappelling, but it doesn't really look that great. But yeah, hopefully you guys can appreciate that. And then of course we have the Christmas lights in the background, which is yeah, very festive. I'm a huge fan of Christmas. Halloween's probably more my favorite holiday, but Christmas is pretty dope too. I love Christmas music because I grew up in like New York City, New Jersey, where you hear that stuff all over the place. So yeah, hopefully you guys can appreciate that. Hopefully you guys have a lot of Christmas music going on wherever you are at. And of course, before we get into the video, if you guys haven't seen my merch, I'll put the link down in the video description. I have merch on Redbubble and Teespring. The reason why I did both is because personally I was more used to Redbubble, so I was able to vouch for their quality. But then I moved into Teespring. Teespring has a lot of awesome stuff as well, so I'll put that down in the video description, and you'll also see the merch listed underneath the video. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. I'll just say that first off. But again, feel free to subscribe. There's a lot of times that people go to the channel and they get recommended the videos, and they just start watching them over and over again, but they don't realize that they're actually not subscribed. So definitely feel free to take a second, check, see if you're subscribed, and if you want, you can also hit that bell just so you're notified whenever I upload videos, so you're not missing out on anything, because sometimes it might not hit the YouTube algorithm too much, so you guys might not get recommended every single video, which kind of sucks, but it is the nature of reaction videos. You're not going to be totally interested in everything that I'm putting out, and the YouTube algorithm probably won't hit every single video onto your home feed. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys. Again, if you're new to the channel, welcome. So we are getting into this video. This is, again, highly requested. This is Fly with RAF's Quick Reaction Alert Cruise. So this is about 23 minutes, but this was very, very highly requested. And because of that, you guys can see I'm wearing my my special Hawaiian shirt. It's got like helicopters on it and stuff. It's supposed to look like the Rhodesian brushstroke camouflage pattern, which is pretty sweet. I got this from Savage Tacticians, which they do a bunch of awesome like military focused merchandise. So feel free to check them out. But yeah, I love this shirt. Hopefully you guys can appreciate it. We have the heat on in the barracks now, so I can rock the Hawaiian shirts without freezing my butt off. So that's awesome. But yeah, let's get into this video. Should be a very good one because again, I've had this video requested so many times. So let's do it.
The Eurofighter Typhoon, one of the most advanced fighter jets in the world, armed and ready.
Okay. Alright, quick caveat, I don't know anything about like aircraft or anything like that. I don't really understand aircraft tactics or what it takes to really react to anything. So I'm coming into this with very little knowledge. So I'll just say that caveat right now.
The pilots set to scramble at a moment's notice to defend the country on the orders of the British government.
You know their hearts are
Order I've
racing.
been given. This is my job. I am the weapons platform.
For the first time, cameras have been allowed to film every stage of this vital part of national security.
Alright, it should be good
Worst case
then.
scenario is that we potentially have to shoot down an aircraft.
We have scrambled to QRA jet.
We have been inside the UK's top secret nuclear bunker and heard from the pilots themselves and the politicians who would give them the order to shoot down a plane.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So I guess we're going to see like the whole process as it comes into play, where you have this specific situation where someone's like, uh-oh, maybe we should probably scramble these jets, and then you have these people actually giving the call. So that's pretty cool.
A hostile aircraft. That's quite threatening.
In a matter of seconds, the sky defenders of the United Kingdom are away on what has now become a
hell
routine
yeah.
job, shooting down Nazis.
Just as we were ready in 1940 for the Nazi aircraft coming across the southeast of England, then we're ready now.
This is the story of how the RAF protects Britain's skies every minute of every day.
Hell yeah, that's a serious lineage right there, especially during World War II. RAF do not mess about.
RAF Coningsby
Nice
in
jets,
Lincolnshire is home to 2 frontline Typhoon squadrons. 30 combat jets are based here.
Okay.
They are flown by 40 pilots and supported by 400 ground crew.
Yeah, I imagine it would take a lot for that many aircraft.
They have many roles, but the one that never ends for them is a mission known as QRA. It stands for Quick Reaction Alert.
Okay. That's sick.
The RAF's
I gotta say, it would be really, really awesome to be stationed on a specific area like this. And again, this is a very important mission, and the RAF, again, they don't really mess about, just judging by their history and what the RAF actually had to do during World War II. I can imagine those pilots have a pretty good mindset as far as taking everything very, very seriously. And yeah, I think it would just be an awesome thing to be a part of this specific team here.
operation to protect the skies of Britain.
That's sick.
On a discrete part of RAF Coningsby is a building nicknamed the Q Shed. It sits between two hangars. Inside each one is an aircraft loaded with fuel and missiles, ready to take off day or night.
That's cool.
The pilots take it in turns on the QRA rota. Each shift lasts 24 hours. They don't want us to broadcast their surnames for their own personal security.
Just tell me what it's like, the feelings when you're on shift and you're fairly tense because you don't know when that's going to crack.
Yeah, indeed. You can't think about it too much because otherwise your mind wouldn't be in the right place when you got the shout.
Right.
Obviously, you've always got an ear on anything that can happen.
On shift, the Q Shed becomes home. There are bedrooms so they can sleep overnight, but on duty, their senses never fully switch off.
Yeah, so what he was saying was very true as far as just not being completely on alert or paranoid the entire time. Because if you do have to react, if it does come to that, by the time you have to do it, you're going to be completely worn out mentally just because you've been on edge and you've been, super jittery, pacing around and stuff. More than likely, it's not going to happen. These guys probably aren't relied on too much. But again, you need some very solid individuals to wrap their mind around it and not get complacent in case it does end up coming to that. They can actually respond appropriately. But yeah, of course, you're going to need those living quarters, like their creature comforts, so to speak, as far as hygiene, shower, and then, of course, the bed so they can rotate and shift so they're not just super tired the entire time. So yeah, what you're saying is very true.
Mark is coming to the end of his first shift, and it's been a quiet one.
This is your
Good.
first QRA.
Yeah.
What sort of feeling of responsibility do you have?
Yeah, it's a huge feeling of responsibility. It's kind of nice to be able to kind of fulfil the training that we've carried out for such a long period of time. But yeah, there certainly is a weight of responsibility. Yeah.
Why is it important for you to be doing this job?
I think it's as John said before, I think it's a real privilege.
There you go. It's a
to be in
good way to
this
put
position
it.
to protect the country as a whole.
It's been a gentle introduction to QRA for Mark. Not every shift, though, is as quiet as this one.
Okay, at least I got a TV and stuff too. I'm not sure what
On
rank
average,
he was.
8,000 aircraft enter British airspace every single day. This
Okay.
animation shows the actual route of each plane
That's
during
cool.
one typical 24-hour period last year.
That's really cool.
Whether they're landing, taking off, or just passing overhead, each aircraft must be closely monitored.
It is quite a challenge, but our training and the practicing and the simulation that we do in terms of our operations are fundamental to making sure that we achieve the tasks that we are assigned to do. We're identifying aircraft every day, and we're looking for every aircraft that comes into the UK to understand where it's going, what it's doing. But on occasions, on a daily basis, there are instances where we are unsure of what the aircraft is doing, or it might be in a different place to where we were expecting it, or a different time.
Okay, so I guess he's saying that they just track all of the aircraft to make sure that their flight path is solid and that they're not deviating from it or any weird things, and make sure that their trip actually went as planned. So they're sort of, I guess they have their own team to track this, which is pretty crazy. Again, they have 400 support individuals, but that would be kind of stressful. You can imagine the pilots on a 24-hour. It's not going to be too stressful unless they actually get the call. But if you have people who are constantly just tracking, making sure that no one's deviating too weird, that would be a really stressful job. I mean, being an air traffic controller already is super stressful. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure where the actual hangar was located. I think I might have missed that. Now, I'd assume the QRA is just for all of England. I'm not really sure if it's like all the United Kingdom when you're talking about like Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. I'm not sure if it's all of the UK or if it's just England, or if they have multiple teams on this quick reaction alert. So that'd be interesting to know about. I'm not sure if they're going to go into that.
The British military has 2 air control and reporting centres.
Okay, here we go.
CRCs. One based at RAF Bulmer in Northumberland, and this one at RAF Scampton in Lincolnshire.
I don't know where either of
Just
those
a few
places
miles
are.
to the west of the Typhoon station at RAF Coningsby.
Okay.
For security reasons, the various parts of the QRA operation are kept in different locations in case of attack. Their job here is to identify suspicious activity. They are looking for abnormal behaviour, unusual flight paths, loss of communication,
Sheesh.
unidentified aircraft.
That's stressful, dude. That's a lot of work.
As we are filming, an alert goes off.
Okay, what we've got is we've had a call on the guard radio. Guard radio is where every aircraft within the UK listens to that radio, with air traffic going out for an aircraft who's not speaking to anyone at the moment.
Every single aircraft in the UK.
Every aircraft will listen into the guard radio, so that actually if they need to be contacted, they can be contacted. In this particular instance,
That makes sense.
An aircraft has got airborne out of Marham. We believe it to have a stuck receiver, which means he can't hear. But we have not had him check in, so they've gone on guard radio to try and contact him to establish.
I wonder how much that
communication with
happens.
him, and therefore be able to identify him and confirm which aircraft it is.
Just like the false
It
alarms.
turns out to be a US Air Force plane with radio problems. Nothing to worry about. The
Come on,
Typhoon
Air
crews
Force.
are stood down.
Sheesh.
We have 2 main missions in respect of quick reaction and alert. One is against military aircraft and Russian aircraft, and the other
Specifically
one is very
Russian.
much a UK-centric 9/11 type scenario.
Okay.
This is a Russian Bear aircraft. It's a long-range Tupolev bomber. Recently, Vladimir Putin has been using them to challenge NATO's response.
How
Yeah.
do you assess that current geopolitical situation with the Russians?
The first question is, go and speak to Mr. Putin and see what his intentions are. I think the important thing from my viewpoint, we have a
Nice.
responsibility as a NATO member, firstly to reassure those member states that are much closer to any potential Russian threat than ourselves, that we are here.
Right.
That, NATO is fit for purpose. And of course to deter, as part of NATO, any potential aggressors to the organisation and the countries within it.
Only
Okay. Yeah, so that makes sense. Again, when you're a NATO member, especially when you're one of the more like bigger or more prominent NATO members, you have a certain obligation to all these other countries, especially if they're put in like a harder position geographically speaking. So Finland is not a member of NATO, but like the other countries in that specific area, the countries closer to like Russia, of course, if their capabilities aren't as big as the UK is going to have to flex if it does come down to it. So it's just providing that sort of reassurance to those countries, which makes a lot of sense. But I'd like to hear more about they said like the whole 9/11 scenario type stuff in the UK. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about how they handle that one.
Last Thursday, 2 RAF Typhoons were scrambled from Lossiemouth in Scotland to intercept a Russian Blackjack strategic bomber that is
Sheesh.
capable of flying supersonic.
That thing looks mean, dude.
Russian planes don't submit a flight plan or transmit their position.
Of course not.
They never actually enter British airspace, but
Yeah.
fly into the British area of interest
Makes
to
sense.
test the RAF's reactions.
They're doing their job, and we're doing our job to determine what is happening and then feed that back to the fighter controllers and further up the chain.
In April 2015, a Russian Bear bomber flew up the English Channel straight through busy commercial flight paths.
Oh,
This
dude.
is video of that incident,
That's
filmed
sick.
from inside the Russian plane, the
Oh.
RAF Typhoons shadowing it alongside.
This kind of flying is
Dude.
extremely intimidatory. It's also dangerous.
Yeah,
They
sure.
may not enter our airspace, but they don't respond. They don't file flight plans. They don't respond to air traffic control. They don't even respond to our pilots when they're up in the air alongside them. It's unnecessary behaviour. It's intimidatory.
Good
it's
grief.
designed to annoy us, but it's important we respond to it, and we do.
In a matter
Annoy
of
us,
seconds,
I
the
like how
sky
you use that
defenders of the
word.
United Kingdom are away on what has now become a routine job, shooting down Nazis.
75 years ago, the men and women of the RAF were performing a very similar role, but against a very different enemy.
Yeah, okay. Again, I love how it's going to go into the more historical context of this. But yeah, you can really see, I like how they talk about like the Russians and how they're just doing like all this flexing in their airspace and whatnot. And then they connect it back to the original RAF mission. And it just gives you a little bit more appreciation for the mindset that the pilots would have.
Goering's Luftwaffe took its first licking.
In 1940, the German Luftwaffe
Licking.
was bombing airfields across the southeast of England. The only thing that stood in their way were the Hurricanes and Spitfires of Fighter Command.
Spitfire.
It was the Battle of Britain.
Well, this is rather a large part of British history. If it wasn't for the replica Hurricane and a Spitfire as well, you wouldn't know it's here. You could almost walk straight past it. Because 76 stairs below here is a World War II underground operations room,
76
which was
steps.
the command centre for the Battle of Britain.
Oh, that's so cool.
During those tense days, this bunker at RAF Uxbridge was manned round the clock as the Nazis pummeled the airfields in the southeast. Key
Wow,
decisions that would decide the fate of Europe were taken here, 60 feet underground.
That's so
It's
iconic.
extraordinary to think that just 70 years ago, this was very much the height of technology. And trying to imagine what it must have been like during those days. There would have been 20 people crowded around this table, all of them women, working in pairs, plotting the route of German
That's
aircraft
cool.
as they came across the English Channel. One RAF officer said it was like a game of tennis. The Germans were always serving, the RAF were the ones returning. And
Dude, so we saw like the air traffic controllers and how they're like super stressful just tracking these commercial like planes. But imagine how stressed all those chicks and those few guys must have been just trying to track all these like German planes. Because again, the Battle of Britain's pretty serious when you have like the Luftwaffe actually like bombing airways and stuff. You need to be able to track it, or else they could potentially hit like a very strategic location and just make things much harder for you. So yeah, that's awesome. You can imagine that was extremely stressful. So honestly, I wish there was like a specific documentary just on that, because that sounds really fascinating, really cool.
on that day, that crucial day, as if to add to the pressure, Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister, was up here watching down, and he saw on the board behind all of the lights turn red, meaning that every single Spitfire and Hurricane squadron was up in the air engaging the Germans.
That's
and
crazy.
He turned to the man in charge and said, "How much have we got in reserve?" The answer came back, "None."
Fighter command
that
was
is really
vastly
interesting.
outnumbered. The Luftwaffe came at them with over 3,000 aircraft. The Allies only had 600 in the beginning.
Fighter Command lost 103 pilots killed, 128 seriously injured. The lifeblood of Fighter Command, its fighter pilots, was ebbing away. So we were in a pretty serious state. We had pilots. We didn't have combat-trained pilots, and pilots were arriving at frontline squadrons, if they were lucky, with 20 hours experience on a Hurricane or a Spitfire. Some with 15, some with 10, some with none at all.
Good grief.
The Hurricane
that's
might
stressful.
have shot down more planes in the battle, but the Spitfire has become a British icon.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this is the last remaining airworthy Spitfire to have fought in the Battle of Britain, and the RAF bought it for £25 off a scrap heap back in 1948. Would you believe it? It's not particularly comfortable, I have to say. To imagine that these young men would go up in it 4 or 5 times a day to face the Germans over the English Channel is
just
quite something.
Imagine just taking this thing up into the air. I mean, I'm sure it might have looked a little bit better back in the day, but dude, just taking this thing up in the air to go and fight some like Germans in the air. I don't know. For me, I like being on the ground. It's much easier for me. I can really wrap my mind around that. But having to really rely on technology and rely on this thing that's flying through the air to, save your life and, save your countryman's life. Yeah, that's stressful stuff. So yeah, huge props to those who actually did this. And if you all have any experiences, or if you have any relatives that were actual RAF pilots during the Battle of Britain, or even back during World War II, I'd love to hear about that. So feel free to put that in the comment section, because that's just, yeah, it's a big deal.
Today, the home of the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight is RAF Coningsby. The planes that defended Britain's skies 75 years ago now live alongside their modern successors,
That's awesome.
the Typhoons. There are a few RAF pilots who get to fly both. One of those is Coningsby's station commander, Group Captain Jez Attridge.
These old aeroplanes, you can really feel them. You know, there's not much to them. It's you and the stick. Whereas the modern aeroplanes, it's all about processing the information rather than actually flying the aeroplane. So you're sitting there as a battle space manager rather than a pure pilot.
Like the Spitfire and the Hurricane, the Typhoon was designed for a dogfight. It was built to shoot down the enemy.
Sheesh.
From their Lincolnshire
sick
base,
shots in this
they can
video.
be over central London in just 10 minutes. When the alarm goes, there is no time for a briefing.
So
Coming
fast.
Up, the siren sounds.
Holy cow.
The siren goes off and we need to be out of those aircraft as soon as possible.
The training just kicks in and the adrenaline inflows.
And we experience firsthand what it is like to be intercepted at 35,000 feet.
Ah, that's gonna be cool.
If you don't respond immediately to my orders and turn east, you will be shot down.
That's sick. Again, so that's really cool that that pilot gets to fly the old airplanes and then the new ones. It's just like a weird connection from like the lineage that the RAF actually came from. But this looks like it's going to be really cool, so I'm excited to get into it.
During the later years of the Cold War, when the Russian nuclear threat was at its height, the British government built this bunker at RAF Air Command outside High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire.
Okay.
It is so top secret that this is the first time cameras have been allowed to film it.
Okay. Dang, they got a lot of good privileges here.
Protect it from nuclear, biological, and chemical attack.
It looks very much like it was made in the 50s.
Going deep below the ground. On the second, somewhere in the heart of the bunker, is the National Air Defence Operations Centre, the NADOC. The top of the military chain to protect Britain's skies.
Okay, so they still use it?
For the NatRep, we still have no radio contact with...
The role of the NADOC is to act very much as the hub, the fusion point, if you want, for all the information that comes in to allow us to exercise air defence on behalf of the United Kingdom Air Defence Command.
We've got a lost comms on a call sign.
If a suspicious aircraft appears, there is a direct line from here to the Department of Transport and the Metropolitan Police Counter-Terror Unit.
Oh, okay. I like how they work together. I didn't expect them to say that, but yeah, I'm not sure like what the specific departments do in the UK. I know you guys were telling me about the Home Office and how I feel like for us it would be like the Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security. Yeah, I guess it'd be like a fusion of a bunch of different departments. So I'm not really sure what those specific departments do in the UK, but that's awesome that they have that direct line of communication. Again, it's all about reaction and being able to call the appropriate people as quick as possible, because if you don't have that communication, then you're kind of just wasting your time. It can go south super quickly if you don't have that.
And swap intelligence to build a clearer picture of the threat. In real emergencies, a red phone connects straight to Downing Street.
The red phone.
When dialed, a voice answers with one simple word, London. It is then transferred to the Prime Minister or to a senior cabinet minister if he is away.
Imagine when the phone rings, even during an exercise, the heart beats a little faster.
Yes, you know, there are lives at stake, there are uncertainties, you're unsure as to how real the threat is, and there's advice available to you, but in the end, a minister has to take that decision.
The QRA operation is highly sensitive. It has never been filmed before, from start to finish.
This video is so
The RAF
in-depth.
gave us unprecedented access to do just that.
That's sick.
This is how it works.
Yeah, this video is super in-depth. They got a lot of good
Coningsby
privileges.
To play the part of a hijacked passenger plane.
Here we go.
So we've been heading east over the North Sea. We're about there at the moment. And in a minute we're going to turn around. We're going to start coming back down towards the UK, but this time as an unidentified aircraft.
Okay, how old is that? Like, that looks like Windows like 95 or something. Just, I mean, I guess if it works, it works. But I know I just didn't expect that. I expect just like to see all this futuristic stuff. But I guess this is like a commercial airplane and whatnot. But okay, I don't know. I just got a kick out of that.
Down towards the UK, but this time as an unidentified aircraft. At which point the alarm bells will start ringing. The Typhoons based here in Coningsby will be scrambled, and they will come out, sit alongside us, and intercept us.
Oh yeah, see how much time it takes.
At RAF Scampton, our aircraft is identified on the computer screens.
Track of interest. East Coast inbound.
They immediately contact the NADOC in the bunker at RAF Air Command.
Okay.
NatRep, good morning, sir. This is the Master Controller. I have a track of interest in the system for you. Zulu 001. He's east coast heading northwest right now at 35,000 feet.
Yeah, I can see it on your radar.
Roger, that's understood.
Good communication there, that's it.
Quick reaction alert to readiness. Stand by.
The Master Controller at Scampton alerts the Typhoons.
Hell yeah.
Operations and QRA. This is the Black Dog Master Controller. Acknowledge.
QRA.
Q on. 4 quick.
He's getting ready to run.
Alerts. Scramble, 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 acknowledge.
QRA.
There we go. I wonder if they have a specific time they need to
and
meet.
Their ground teams run to the hangars.
Okay, so I can kind of relate to this, not nearly in the same amount of like urgency and whatnot. Well, kind of. Okay, so I was on a reactionary, it's called the recapture tactics team, but it was like a reactionary team on a nuclear submarine base. So basically, if we had like any weird intrusion alarms or any crazy alarms going off in any of the nuclear facilities that handled all the components and whatnot, we would have to react and, you know, start clearing out the facilities. So it was kind of stressful. We had a very similar job like this. We had like a certain amount of time to react, which I think it was like 2 minutes or something, but we were very, very quick, and you take it very seriously. Even if it's a false alarm, you want to take it very, very seriously and do it as quick as possible. And you start to make it almost like a game to see how fast you can actually do it. And it's awesome. It's an awesome mindset to be in for any sort of quick reaction element. So that's what I'm sort of comparing it to. So I can appreciate their urgency.
They can flick a switch to begin powering up the jet, even as they climb into the cockpit.
Okay.
The Typhoons are cleared to take off.
We have scrambled to
It's a sick jet. It's mean looking.
Set this lost comms zone first. One jet has been cleared supersonic.
Climb flight level 410 and 400. Set speed initially decimal and 9. Your mission, interrogate.
Okay, interrogate. So I guess just like ask, like, what are you doing or
As
something?
they break through the clouds,
Any other information have we got on this aircraft?
the team on the ground are still trying to gather intelligence on the suspect aircraft.
Still out of radio contact with air traffic control.
The Typhoons need to reach it fast and assess the situation for themselves. The
Is that
quicker
it
they
right
get there, the more thinking time for the Prime Minister if he is called upon to make a decision. And it can happen.
That's a good point. Yeah, give him as much time as possible.
Breaking news tonight as a Russian-built Latvian cargo plane's been intercepted by RAF Typhoons and escorted into Stansted Airport.
In October 2014, the Typhoons from RAF Coningsby flew supersonic to intercept a Latvian aircraft.
So that was
approaching
legit.
London.
I thought it was just
wasn't
part of the training.
communicating, and so the RAF pilot gave this final warning.
1605 from the Lima 9 Tango 47. I'm instructed by Her Majesty's Government of the United Kingdom to warn you that if you do not respond immediately to my orders, you will be shot down.
The cargo plane was
Dude.
safely escorted into Stansted. It is one of the UK's designated airports for terrorist incidents.
Okay.
In the cockpit, the people
So they have designated
communicating in the
areas.
cockpit
That's pretty
are
pretty
fully
smart.
trained, fully rehearsed, and ready for that moment.
Back at RAF Coningsby, even as the two Typhoons are closing in on our target aircraft, new jets are being readied should another call come in.
Oh, that's sick. Okay.
The pilot inspects the weapons and does his pre-flight checks in the cockpit. If the sirens sound, everything must be ready to go.
That's legit.
Although
That's
there
really
is
well
another
thought out.
QRA base at RAF Lossiemouth in Scotland, Coningsby must be set to launch any time of day or night even if some of its aircraft are already deployed.
Gotcha.
30,000
here we
feet above
go.
the North Sea, the Typhoons are closing in on our aircraft. They approach cautiously, in case they spook the plane, and then they try to contact the cockpit.
Russian 6-6 from Q2, interceptor aircraft.
Our aircraft doesn't respond.
Q2, Blackguard, confirm no response.
It's remarkable how close they get. There's one either side of us at the moment, both fully armed. If you were a hostile aircraft, that's quite threatening.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course it's going to be intimidating. You have these Typhoons flying up out of nowhere, going super speed, and start asking you all these questions. And again, you know these guys train like night and day for this. They're going to be very ready. And of course their adrenaline is going to be like through the roof, or I guess through the canopy if you want. But yeah, their adrenaline is going to be absolutely spiking. They're going to be more than ready to handle this. But again, just imagine like the psychological stress of having to, question this specific aircraft, and all of a sudden they're not communicating. It's like, well, do we tell the Prime Minister or what? Like, what's going on? So yeah, it's a hard position to be in.
Typhoon pilots will report what they're seeing back to the ground, and in turn receive any new intelligence.
Change heading onto east immediately, acknowledge.
So that they can stay on station for as long as needed, a refueling tanker is deployed.
Okay.
So we'll be getting communications from the control and reporting centres at Scampton and Bulmer. They'll be giving us instructions as more information is fed to them, and they gain more information from.
Yeah, maybe like where the aircraft might be
and then
going.
Gradually, there's an escalation process if that needs to occur. There's nothing new in there that we don't practice, and the training just kicks in, and the adrenaline flows.
There you go.
Having no luck with radio contact, the Typhoon pilots fire flares as a show of force. By now, most options have been tried, and our plane is still not responding. It has become a real threat to national security.
I am instructed by Her Majesty's Government of the United Kingdom to warn you that if you do not respond immediately to my orders to turn east, you will be shot down.
It is probable
that's
that
an iconic command right there.
The Prime Minister or a senior cabinet member would now be on the line and briefed.
The worst case scenario is that we potentially have to shoot down an aircraft, but that's having gone through the most robust processes and procedures in order to identify and interrogate that aircraft.
I'm sure there's a bunch of different steps.
That decision is held at the political level, at the highest political level.
But who would give the order to the pilot?
The orders would be issued by my team.
Are they trained for that?
Absolutely, and they're ready to do that.
Would you be prepared to shoot down a commercial airliner?
At the end of the day, we're in the military. This is our job, 24/7, 365 days a year. So if that's an order given to us and the correct protocols are being followed, the correct authentications be given, then yes, you can't think about it. It's our job.
Yeah, again, probably wouldn't feel too great while you're doing it, but I mean, you can imagine. Like, even with the infantry or in like combat arms, you have like a certain escalation of force, and these guys have the exact same thing, except it gets even further because, it could be a political or international issue. So you have like the highest level, politicians involved in this, as opposed to just like, a squad or a team trying to use their own escalation of force for their particular rules of engagement. So yeah, these guys, once they get the command, they know that it's been through a lot of different people, and they've all said, yeah, you're good to do this, basically. So it makes it a little bit easier for him, but also it still kind of sucks potentially.
Does it go
it's
through
an
your
order.
mind?
It will when I land. It won't airball.
The Typhoons have returned to Coningsby. Another day on quick reaction alert.
Hell yeah.
Their mission is over. Their shift isn't. They go back on standby, ready should the alarm go again.
Oh, okay. So they react. They don't get like a chill pill. That sucks.
In 1940, the young men and women of Fighter Command protected Britain's skies against Nazi invasion. Today, 75 years on, Russian aircraft continue to probe NATO's air defences. The threat of terrorism is as high as it has been for many years.
Everyone knows their part in that system. They train for it, they rehearse for it, and so then if an event happens, then they're ready to react.
Training kicks in. This is what I've been trained to do.
And again,
just order I've been
the
given.
lineage of what
job.
the RAF came
Every
from,
pilot,
it means a lot.
engineer and controller is aware of the part that they play, keeping the country safe, protecting Britain's skies every minute of every day.
Hell yeah. Just in time to skip this ad. Okay. Awesome recommendation, I have to say right off the bat. That was really cool. It gave me a lot of insights. Again, I can sort of relate to the whole quick reaction mindset, so I understand that, but it gave me a whole lot of insight as to what it actually takes to, you know, scramble these specific jets and actually get the call to potentially shoot down, you know, the airplane. And again, you have these specific command stations set up, and they're talking to each other really well, and they have every means possible to escalate it from there. So there's a lot of procedures, so people can pretty much rest assured that it's not just going to be some jet scrambling, you know, talking to the dude for like 30 minutes and then just, you know, calling it a day, either popping smoke or shooting the dude down. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And again, it gets super political because you can cause a really big international issue or, you know, a bunch of controversy if you shoot down something you probably shouldn't have. But yeah, they have their procedures in check. It was awesome to see. It was awesome to see all the specific, you know, the mindset from the pilots, the mindset from the people in the control, and also how it relates back to how it was in the 40s. Again, we saw how they were tracking all the different aircraft. We saw how they had those specific command stations set up. And I mean, I guess it's kind of similar the way they're doing everything, but just the pressure back in the day must have been insane, especially for all those people around that big table just pushing all these things around with these sticks. Yeah, it's a hard job. And yeah, it's probably a hard job just to track all these commercial liners and stuff too. Again, super solid video. If you guys are in the RAF or if you're pilots yourself and you've been on a particular duty like this, like a quick reaction alert or a quick reaction force, let me know how that mindset sort of is and how things compare to what you're seeing in this video. And if you have any relatives that were in the RAF, especially during World War II or even after, share those experiences if they have like any particular memories or whatever that they shared with you. That'd be awesome to hear about. It's awesome to bring all of that into the light, especially if you just have like someone's story, like your grandfather's story. Just being able to share that in like a YouTube comment section and everyone being able to read it is really cool. So yeah, I invite all of you to feel free to share your experiences. We'd all appreciate it. But yeah, this was awesome to check out. Thank you for this awesome recommendation. Again, I did have it on my list for a while. But yeah, once I saw more and more recommendations coming in, I realized I had to do it. Again, I don't have a whole lot of experience with flying or anything, but this is really cool to check out. And again, I can appreciate that whole quick reaction mindset. And again, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you guys think about my Christmas decorations. I think it's pretty cool. And then I also got a new light, which is really cool. This is like a police filter. So like, I don't know, I can just pretend I'm getting arrested or something. I don't know. It's got like a bunch of cool functions, which I can really appreciate. It's just cool. I like getting new stuff for the channel. And I don't know, maybe I can use that in the future for something, but I don't know. Awesome. I'm excited about that. I hope you guys are excited about the decorations. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is it for this one. So I will see you all in the next one.